Welcome to Caching Waves. This is an Elliott wave update for HBAR. Now, if you've been tracking along with me, you know this pattern has been very complicating, although we've gotten the direction correct pretty much every time. We haven't gotten the path correct yet, which is still good. I mean, we've made out well in this, but we haven't got the exact path correct because of the complexity of these three-wave patterns. Now, my current bias is we're making an A, B, C, where we're expecting a 5-wave move to the upside currently, which is up around 34.93 cents if we fill out a 5-wave impulse here for our C wave. Now I do have alternatives I'm tracking, which is a WXY, a double zigzag, ABC, ABC, where we would stop at the 1-to-1 extension of this W off the X at 18.6 cents. So we'll have to see what we get. These are just paths I'm tracking. I am biased for the C wave, but if we invalidate these levels, we'd be getting something else. So it's just been a very complicating structure. But my bias is after this next drop, the direction is up. We'll have to see what sort of waves fill out. If we get a third wave thrust, volume coming in, all these things will help us lean one way or the other once the wave starts filling out and we have more price action. Now, one thing of concern with this count is the length of this X wave. Very short. We're looking for a matching leg here, if you remember, over here, but we didn't get it. We didn't invalidate any rules, but it goes against our guidelines. So that's where we have to decide if it's worth the risk. I do have 5 waves up here, so that's why my bias is to the upside currently. So we'll dig into this area. I am looking for more longs here. I do hold a bag of it. I bought in back in these areas over a long period of time, but I'm looking for a leverage long at this point. And invalidation of this 5-wave impulse is at 6.74 cents at that X wave low. But we're treating this as any other impulse for a buy personally. This was a very tough count up in this area. Last video I had this as our 5th wave. I believe right here, and we just had a very quick correction, but the price action we got here leads me to believe that this is our 5th wave high. We hit the 2.618 extension of wave 1 off wave 2, which was an extended third wave. But why I switched that bias is if we take our 1 through 3 off our proposed 4th, you can see we hit the 0.618 extension. Again, if you watch Rune, you know I aim for the 0.618, then the 1-to-1, then the 1.618. So it seems to fit the best, although this is a really ugly diagonal for our 5th right here. This can't be our 3rd wave because it would be the shortest if it was an impulse. So the best fit I have is it's as a diagonal. It fits the shape, but you have to go down to like the 1 minute to get like a decent count on it. But based on the price action, I think that is the correct count. That's our 5th wave. So we are in a potential wave 1-2. Have this as currently as a expanded flat. Our time fib guidelines of that wave 1 in time, we should expect our wave 2 as per guidelines only between Tuesday, March 26th, and it's not going to show me that. Let's see if I go to the 4-hour. And first week of April. Those are just guidelines. Nothing says we have to get that. We might just get a spike down and reverse. But what I did is if this ends up being a flat, which is a 3-3-5, get our 3-3 looking for 5 waves down. In order to get to ideal fib levels, which is down at the 50, we'd have to get an extension of this A wave off the B for our C wave at the 2.618 extension, which is at 9.54 cents. Now I'm putting limit orders down there in case we get this, because I mentioned if Bitcoin makes its drop, we might just get a candle there and we completely reverse out of there, right? So it won't spend a lot of time down there if we do get it, similar to this wave. As well as I put on the 1.618 extension as an expanded flat at 11.07 cents. If we only come to the 1.618 extension as an expanded flat, I'd expect us to make another X wave and then another 3-wave move down to this area. But if we spend very short amount of time down here, I'd expect us to hit the 2.618 and then reverse back up and not come down to these levels. Again, these are just guidelines, not rules. So I want to make sure I have buys for both scenarios. But if you just want to go with guidelines, what I expect is a 3-wave move, 3-wave move, 3-wave move down to our buy zone. Nothing changes per the setup. Obviously stop past the 618 as our standard for our 1 and 2. Buy zone, depending how you want to purchase. If you don't really actively trade the charts, I usually would just buy the 382, sorry, the 236, the 382, and the 50 divided up by 3. Stop past the 618. If you are actively trading this, I mean, you can get a little better position size, right, if you're actually watching the waves fill out. So let's see, do we get an ABC past the point 2.618 reverse, or do we get a WXY as a complex pattern down to our buy zone? Don't know. We'll see what we get, but important to keep this count intact. We don't spend any significant time below the 618 there at 8.9 cents. Invalidation of this entire impulse is at 6.74 cents. But looks good. Eventual targets, if this holds, again, is up here for our third wave between 23.66 cents and 27.46 cents, and our eventual fifth wave at the 1.618 at 34.94. Obviously these can change, and one scenario I am considering is if this is a 3 and this ends up being like a very complex like double zigzag, we can also get that in diagonals. So I am considering the fact that one other count I'm following is if this ends up being a diagonal, and this is our 1 and 2. So very complex. As you know, when you start with 3 waves, it can get very complex. But if we start rejecting very hard at this 1-to-1 area in the future, I'll probably run a pretty tight stop there. If it's not following the guidelines of a third wave, obviously impulsive volume coming in, depending where the divergence is at on the 4-hour chart, all those things will come into play in the future. But as of right now, just looking for this wave 2 buy between the 236 and the 50, 11.75 cents and 9.7 cents, hold above the 618. I'll probably put my stop at 8.7-ish cents just to be safe in case we get that spike down in the stop hunts right below this fourth wave. But yeah, looks good. That's it for this one, guys. Thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one.